Hello everyone and welcome back. This is race 3 of the IRS GT4 Championship Series. Today's race is at Catalunya. We've got a 90-minute race on our hands today. Got a lot of catching up to do. We're a little behind this week. Some personal stuff going on here at the offices that kept us from pumping the video out. There's also some incident reviews that needed to be done. Nevertheless, let's run you through the order. On pole, by virtue of having the points lead and slightly better finishes than the next driver, is Turbo. Starting second, Timlor. Third, Mo Power. Fourth, we have Moby. Fifth, we've got Whitey, 93, starting sixth. Ace Boy. And starting seventh, the first of the Pro-Am drivers, Desert Penguin. By virtue of, again, his points championship lead among the Pro-Am drivers. Eighth, we've got Guido. Ninth, Race Fan. 10th, Johnny G. Starting 11th, Gentleman Racing. Starting 12th is Drummer. Yeah, so as we mentioned, it's going to be interesting to see the strategies in this race. This is part of the Endurance Championship built into the regular GT4 Championship. So 3 of the 10 races are 90-minute long races. They're considered endurance races. This is the first of those 3 races that are built into the 10 race schedule. Hopefully I explained that clearly enough. So we got 48 laps plus the 1 formation lap today. And just to bring you up to date on the points situation, tied for the lead in the championship are Turbo and Timlor. The next car holding down third place in the championship is Chicken Nugget, actually, who's missing this race this week. Little Chicken Nugget, he drives the Jaguar. Next in the championship with 32 points. The 2 leaders who are sharing the lead have 46 points. Then we got Chicken Nugget with 38, Mo Power with 32, Whitey with 22, Moby with 22 as well, and Ace Boy, who missed race 2 with 14 points. In the Pro-Ams, we got Desert Penguin, who's fallen back in the order here on the formation lap. I guess he had a technical glitch that he's trying to straighten out. And then Desert Penguin with 22 points, Guido with 18, Race Fan with 15, Johnny G with 12, and then a few other drivers in the single digits. And here we are at the start. It's the start of the race. Here we go. Looking really good. That Turbo gets a good launch, holds down the lead, and we're 3 wide already. Mo Power, Mobley, and Timlor. Oh, runs deep. Turbo runs deep, goes off a little bit. Gets squirrely, excuse me for clearing my throat. Got a little bug running through the house this week. And that gives the 3 other drivers an opportunity to pull right up. So Turbo decides to go defensive on the inside line. Yeah, here we go. The field looks good. Turbo taking the inside line. Oh, and look at Mo Power, already up to second. Whitey picks up 0.8 of a second. Again, guys, generally let those smaller penalties burn off, you know, organically, I should say. I don't know why I use that word, but over time it'll burn off that 0.8. You shouldn't really alter your driving line or slow down to burn it off. You can't. You get swamped. He's looking good though. And Turbo's gonna have his hands full with those 2 Mustangs on his back. Whitey still, as you see now, he's down to 3/10, still carrying that penalty. Let's see how the Pro-Ams are looking. We got Penguin being chased by Guido. See, Gentleman Racing has moved up a couple spots, up to 9th, to starting 11th. He's going to have Johnny G. Looks like Gentleman Racing is going to have Johnny G chasing him down with all the torque in that Corvette. Should be an interesting race, seeing how in the Pro-Am, seeing how Gentleman Racing is not carrying any ballast after 2 catastrophic races in the first 2 races. Really poor performances, and had an incident all on his own where he went off at Monza, suffered some damage. Let's go back up to the leaders. Turbo showing his usual form, forming a little gap. He's hoping that those drivers behind him kind of get to mixing it up so he can try to get away. And Moby looking good up there in the Toyota. That team has struggled to get the power necessary to contend with these high horsepower cars, so he's relying on some smoothness and some good clean driving to stay up here in this lead pack. I'm pretty certain he'll do it. It's a class driver. And now it'll be interesting to see how Whitey fares too. I believe he's got some ballast, but not much. Not as much as some of the others. Turbo's maxed out at 5%. I think Timler's carrying 4%. Mopower's got none. Whitey's got none. The only other driver with any ballast amongst the pros is Little Chicken Nugget, who's not here today. So this ought to be a good, interesting race. You see the pros already opening up this little gap to the Pro-Ams. We're really only 3 laps in. If you take 3 laps into the race, if you subtract that 1 formation lap, so that gap should grow and be pretty extensive by the end of the race. Should be a pretty big gap back to the Pro-Ams. Timler makes the move on Mopower there, and we can pretty much assume that he's going to try to settle in behind Turbo and slowly reel him back in. Yeah, Moby really pushing Mopower there. Mopower carrying 1.4 seconds of... Didn't see where he got that penalty. He just burns off 4/10 just like that, right in one corner. So, oh, and it looks like Moby's got Whitey making a push here. Really nice nose to tail racing here. Ace Boy looking to mix it up as well in the Mercedes. Oh, and Moby has it off. Does he pick up a penalty for track limits? We don't know. Doesn't look like he did. Whitey's looking strong with two guys in pursuit there. Looks like we got a race-long battle here. And we've got a nice little grouping of Pro-Ams with Desert Penguin with a nice little gap, but we got Guido, Gentleman Racing, and Johnny. Gathered up in a nice little group there, so. Ooh. Gentleman Racing puts a move on Guido, and he's off after Desert Penguin. Got Race Fan there as well. Oh, and Johnny G gets by Guido as well. Oof, tough lap for Guido. Moves down 2 positions from 8th to 10th. Yeah, it looks like Gentleman Racing wants that top position after having really, really bad finishes. He's down. Oh boy, he's down. Oh yeah, he's down about. Yeah, he's down about 12 points to Desert Penguin. Desert Penguin, leader of the Pro-Ams with 22 points so far this season. And Gentleman Racing's just got 10. So Gentleman Racing's looking to finish as far ahead of Desert Penguin as possible to try to make up those 12 points. It may take him all season long to do that. So he's got to take full advantage of the fact that he's not carrying any ballast right now. He's not really having an easy time of it. That Lexus is very quick in a straight line, whereas the BMW generally relies on its slightly better handling. Yeah, he's pressuring. Desert Penguin goes defensive. Tries to push Gentleman Racing out wide. Oh, little love taps there. Oh! Yeah, and it looks like Johnny G got into the back of Gentleman Racing there, which forced Gentleman Racing into Desert Penguin. And then Desert Penguin takes ends up having to take a funky line through the chicane, kind of shortcutting unintentionally. Obviously, I mean, he got pushed. Unintentionally shortcuts both parts of that chicane, which can be kind of tricky. Picks up a 2.5-second penalty. Unfortunate. It looks like since GT Sport updated its this most recent update to address penalties, it's creating an issue here where the game is not accounting for the fact, like in this situation, that Gentleman Racing tapped Desert Penguin, and that's what forced Penguin offline. So no penalty for the contact to Gentleman Racing, it looks like, or Johnny for the contact, yet Desert Penguin has to suffer this now 3.1. I think he had another slide off to add to the original 2.5, but yeah, it's becoming a topic of debate in the series on whether to turn these track limit penalties completely off. They're set to weak right now because somehow the game can't account for contact that leads to cars going off. So yeah, it's being debated. Yeah, one would say that if there's no contact, then you don't have an issue, but we all also know that, you know, these things are going to happen throughout the course of a race, so especially a 90-minute race. So we're going to see. Yeah, and then we see Desert Penguin pick up another half-second penalty. It looks like he ran ever so slightly wide in the second half of that chicane there, getting the right side tires just a little bit too far off, and maybe it's throwing his concentration off, because now he's got Gentleman Racing pushing and pressuring to try to get this position. Yeah, he looks like he's having some serious understeer issues, because Gentleman Racing is able to squeeze by. Did kind of an elongated over-under. Let's go a little bit further back. It looks like Race Fan's gotten by Guido. Guido's really falling back here Perhaps he's got an issue with his tires. Yeah, Guido's tires are... This Viper is known for this. It's known for this and its thirstiness. Tire wear is... I mean, it's not a lot worse, but it's enough to just throw you off. Nevertheless, as I say that, Guido takes race fan on the inside going into turn 1. And it looks like Gentleman Racing had to give the position back to Desert Penguin. Desert Penguin made a nice move, used the torque in that car. But yeah, they're going at it good. Hey, we can see there those little love taps, side-by-side love taps, and even some of the rear ends. If no one goes off, the game's not assessing penalties. It's, you know, it's looking to this commentator like, you know, if you tap somebody from behind and force them wide, they get the penalty, which is unfortunate because it just throws a wrench into the game. There's a lot of debate about turning the track limits penalties off and going on trust and a gentleman's agreement, which isn't you know, unreasonable. It just creates more work. You know, up to this point, seasons 1, 2, and the first 2 races here, till that most recent update, this issue of ridiculous penalties for going off through no fault of your own, it was not happening. No. We'll have to see. We got another race coming up in a couple days here. Again, it took us a little bit longer. So it looks like Gentleman Racing has taken the lead amongst the Pro-Ams. Let's get back up to the pros and see what's going on. We got Tim Lohr has moved ahead of Turbo. Sorry we missed that. We don't know how it happened, but we're going to stick with these guys for a while. Looks like Tim Lohr, Turbo, and Mo Power have opened up a gap to the second half of the Pro-Ams. Oh, Ace Boy running 4th with Moby and Whitey hot on his tail. The race is flying by quickly, already 8 laps deep. Oh, and Ace Boy runs a little wide. He's got Moby. He's going to have to go defensive. Moby looking for the over-under, but he's got Whitey right behind him, who looks like he was burning off some penalty, ghosting there. Ace Boys. Oof. That particular corner, their game is very stingy about track limits. You can see the love taps going on, little nose to tail stuff, and you can see that there's no consequence for that type of stuff. The second you tap a guy and send him offline, that's when things get crazy. Oh, Ace Boy runs it deep through the first half of the chicane. Gets a little bit in the grass, and Moby's on the inside with Whitey right behind him. Whitey decides to get behind Moby. Oh, 3 wide. That McLaren is quick. It's quick. It's right alongside. He's on the inside. He gets ahead of Moby. With Ace trying to get alongside. Well, these are dangerous dangerous areas of the track. Let's go on board with Moby. We can see Whitey's opened up quite a gap. You can see the leaders just going in through the tight left-hander up ahead, so they've opened up a gap. Let's go up with the leaders. It's like Turbo. Tim Lore, I've opened up a gap to Mopower. But again, Mopower has no ballast here, so this front straight is really going to be a little more helpful to him than under normal circumstances with just a standard BOP, because Turbo is carrying about 150 pounds extra weight due to the ballast he's accrued, and Timlore's got about 120 pounds of extra weight. Timlore at 4% and Turbo at the maximum 5%. So that Mustang that Mopower's in is quite a bit lighter than those other two cars in terms of, you know, versus your standard BOP. Well, sorry, your BOP that's been given to those guys due to their success thus far. Looks like things have settled down all throughout. We got three groups of cars battling. Whitey being chased by Moby and Ace Boy, and then we've got Gentleman Racing being chased by Johnny. It looks like Desert Penguin's tires are totally shot. He's still looking to burn off 1.6 seconds of that penalty he picked up earlier, which, you know, it's not unreasonable to expect that through the course of the race he's gonna burn that off without too much issue. But it gets in your head, you know, it's what it does. And so if it in any way it alters how you're driving, your aggressiveness, it can impact the outcome. And here's the other issue. He's gonna have Race Fan and Guido coming up on him, and they're looking to have some good pace. Again, you have to remember, Desert Penguin's got a full 3% of additional ballast weight on board. We'll check here the stats to see. But it looks like Guido's got 2% and Race Fan's got 1%. Johnny G and Gentleman Racing, who are up in the lead of the Pro-Ams, they haven't got any ballast on board. So it kind of makes sense that they're able to open up this gap. If these finishing positions hold, you're going to see Gentleman Racing pick up 3%. And we may have a situation where the vast majority of these Pro-Am drivers are equal in terms of how much extra weight they're carrying. Oh, it looks like Mopower has reeled the two leaders back in. We should be coming close, coming up on. Well, it'll be interesting to see the pit strategy here. We may be getting to a point where, for the two stoppers, would imagine around lap 16, 15, 16, 17 that you will see those drivers stop. Don't know if anybody's looking to do a one stopper. It may be possible. Oh, and it looks like Mopower has rear-ended Turbo, sending him into, well, giving him front and rear end damage and suspension damage. So it looks like Mopower's contact. So he's what he's got to do is wait here, and it looks like he's waiting for Turbo to resume racing. And it looks like Turbo got a 6-second penalty. He went slightly off, and he forced another driver off. Yeah, this is not good. And you can see that second group of pros, meaning Moby and Whitey, reeling them back in because of this waiting to burn this off. Turbo resumes Racing. Mo Power made sure he didn't pick up a position, but it looks like Tim Lord just kept pushing. He's also got rear suspension damage, rear aero damage. It's too bad it's not visible, you know, crinkled up wing or whatever. And yeah, it's a right rear suspension and aero damage in the back. But he's choosing to just keep going. You can see the 5.7, some of which he's already burned off. But the game assessed a 6-second penalty for the off track, and that was through no fault of his own. It was a result of the pinball effect of Mo Power rear-ending Turbo. Let's see, will Turbo pit for the repairs? If Turbo has to pit or chooses to pit for repairs, Mo Power, by rule in the series, will have to follow him in and wait. But Turbo elects to stay out, and so Mo Power does as well. Looks like Mo Power's got front aero damage as well. Yeah, so in these types of situations, we're seeing that with the latest update, the game is just, it's not accounting for off tracks where the person going off, you know, didn't intentionally go off track or just, you know, make a mistake and go off on their own. These guys were hit with a pretty good wallop. You can see, I mean, that's got to be affecting Turbo. Let's look at what his lap times. A 2:01 on lap 13 after the contact. A lot of that is because he had to burn off that 6 seconds. Well, he chose to burn off that 6 seconds. You see, Mo Power is going to probably be at a significant advantage here. He's got no suspension damage, and he's only got front aero. So that Aston Martin's got to be a handful. I mean, we know Turbo can handle it. He's got incredible pace, really, and it's just an elite driver. But still, it's going to have an impact on the outcome, one would think. We see now. Perhaps Turbo will come in. Turbo still keeps on racing. He must be figuring that it's close enough to the pit window. Oh, and Tim Lord's with the huge lead. Yeah, he's got 5.3 seconds to burn, but little by little he'll burn it off, especially having a little damage, which will throw him off, throw his line off. But we can see here now Mo Power goes ahead and makes the pass. Whitey gets by as well. Perhaps, well, sorry, I kind of jumped issues there. I'm thinking Turbo continued because we're close enough to the pit window where he's not going to want to have to add an additional pit stop to his race overall. But he's really suffering here. He's got Moby on him. Whitey has gotten by Mo Power. Whitey with really a strong performance today. Really, he's up to second. I mean, some of that is due to the contact that was started with Mo Power rear-ended Turbo, but it's still an impressive race. Really coming to grips with that McLaren. Turbo still holding on to fourth, but he's got Moby sniffing around there. Mo Power looking to just as haunting Whitey. Oof. Questionable line through the first half of the chicane there. Whitey with a slowdown penalty, and Turbo goes into the pits. Let's see how long of a stop this will be. Similar now with a 5-second penalty. 4.8. Little by little chipping away at it with the 32, 33 laps still to go. Johnny G pits. Let's keep an eye on Tim Lawrence, see what he's doing here. Yeah, I guess and you can see damage happens on 13. So laps 13 and 14 are down in terms of lap time for him, but then he picks it back up on 15, and he's back to, well, not really where he was. He was running in the 52s, but you know, some of that could be tire wear, as you can see in the lower left-hand portion of the screen. His tires are pretty shot, so he got damage. It was close enough to his normal pit stop sequence probably, and he just kept on cranking it out. He'll probably look to burn that penalty time off at some point later on. There's another 2/10 burned off. Looks like Turbo's back out in 7th. He's fully repaired, fresh tires, and a full tank of fuel. He's looking to go as deep into the race. He's looking to go as deep into the race as he possibly can. Tim Lawler pits. Still carrying the penalty. Looks like Whitey on the front straight. Looks like Mo Power pitted. Mo Power pits right after he sees Turbo go in. Tim Lawler comes out in 4th. Car's repaired, still carrying a penalty. Comes out just in front of the Pro-Am leader, Gentleman Racing. His nearest rival is looking to be... The field's all mixed up. We got pros mixed in with Pro-Ams due to the, you know, alternate stop strategies. Got to see if Whitey's going to come in here. He's carrying a penalty himself. It's a small one though. Should be able to burn that off, no problem. Got a nice little gap to Moby and Ace Boy. So let's see who comes in. Do they come in sequence here? Tires are looking pretty good in comparison to others. Yep, comes in on lap 17. Moby as well, looking to mirror the strategy. We've got now Ace Boy also coming in. So it looks like Tim Lawler's going to resume the lead here. Yeah, we know he's got the 4.5 second penalty. But still. He's got time to figure out. Yeah, Gentleman Racing comes into the pit for his first stop. Race Fan. Looks like Race Fan's going to come out. Race Fan having already stopped. Looks like he may leap ahead of, and he does. Crosses the start finish. So looks like Race Fan, Desert Penguin, and Johnny. Possibly even Guido. No. No. Gentleman Racing is able to come out ahead. So our Pro-Am order now is Race Fan, nice job. Through the pit stops, assumes the Pro-Am lead. Race Fan, Desert Penguin, Johnny, Gentleman Racing, and then Guido. In the pros, we've got Tim Lohr with a nice gap back to Whitey. You can see it there. That's Tim Lohr up ahead, burning off some ghosting and burning off some penalty time. And then Mo Power and Turbo. So after the pit stops, Mo Power gets by Turbo. Turbo losing out by virtue of the fact that he had 2 laps there with a car that was damaged to the front, rear, and suspension. So unfortunate, but we're pretty confident he can make up the time. He's got Moby on him in 5th there. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, and Tim Lohr's looks like he's got a good strategy. Just forge ahead, ignore that penalty, and just try to burn off as much of it without losing too much time. Burn off as much of it as he can without losing too much time throughout the course of the race. Still got 30 laps to go, and he's been slowly burning it off here and there. As a matter of fact, I would argue even that on a couple sections of this track, he could back off and burn off chunks of it without giving up too much of his advantage. See Whitey now holding Mo Power, holding him off, trying to hold on to that 2nd place. Moby sticking with Turbo, which is a nice showing. And Ace Boy with 310. See, this is the kind of thing that I think most of these drivers take into account. You can't get unnerved by that silly 3/10 penalty. It's just a reminder. It serves as a reminder to, you know, keep the lines clean. The debate going on is that, you know, there should be, quote, trust and gentleman's agreement. But, you know, we find that sometimes people have different interpretations of what a legal line is. And, you know, like a race like this, 49 laps, you know, it's a very difficult thing to have to police. You're gonna have to watch 90 minutes of replay from everyone's perspective to make sure that they're not taking advantage of unorthodox lines. That's a lot to ask. I think having the game do it simplifies the management of a series, and then the only wrench that's been thrown in that is PD's handling of the update. Now the penalties are just absurd. Before you couldn't get a penalty in the sport lobbies. Now, you know, it's hands off. So here we see it now. Back to the race. Enough about the debate. Tim Lohr's got it down to 3.9. Yeah, I know it kind of gets in your head a little bit, but he's doing I think the most reasonable thing, which is just run your race, and especially when you've got 29 laps to go, you're gonna burn some of that time off with little mistakes here and there. Oh, and it looks like Tim Lohr has suffered a disconnect. I don't think the game disqualified him, kind of like iRacing does when you have too many offs, but it looks like we just had a straight disconnect and we've lost Tim Lohr. Unfortunate. That's gotta hurt, getting taken out by a connection issue when you're in the lead. After persevering through the damage and the contact and all the other nonsense that was going on, you get disconnected sucks. So our hearts go out to Tim Lohr for getting disconnected there. That's going to put him on the back foot going into the next race. However, he's going to get some of that ballast taken off of him, because he's gonna lose 1 point for finishing off the podium. That's unfortunate. So Mo Power, by virtue of being in 2nd place, now has assumed the lead. He's got Whitey on his tail, and Turbo not far behind those guys with Moby in tow. Yes, this next 28 laps with a pit stop, I'm sure, slapped in there for pretty much all these drivers, is going to make things interesting. All we can hope is that we avoid contact that pushes people off. And Race Fan having a phenomenal race. He's got a significant gap back to Johnny G, who is in second in the Pro-Ams. Third in the Pro-Ams is Desert Penguin, a nice recovery. But it looks like he's got Gentleman Racing on him. If you recall, just about 10 laps ago, Gentleman Racing had secured the Pro-Am lead. He's gotten in front of all these guys, and he's got it all to do again. But he looks like he's making up some good time on Desert Penguin. Again, it's important to note, Desert Penguin is carrying a full... Oh, and he goes wide. Gentleman Racing just slides in there. Let's compare the tires here. Gentleman Racing... No, that was incorrect. Those were Guido's tires. Gentleman Racing, pretty good. Oof. Desert Penguin, significant wear starting to show. So Gentleman Racing's got to be patient here, showing his nose. Just constantly reminding Desert Penguin that he's there. Let's go on board with Gentleman Racing. Why don't we? Very cautious. Oh, Johnny G going a little wide up ahead. Ooh, that's... And we'll see it here. We'll see Desert Penguin just get on the throttle, and that Lexus will stretch its legs. Gentleman Racing doing the wise thing and just getting up in his draft. There's a Penguin going defensive. Ooh, that's a Penguin. Right in the middle of the track. Oh, over and under? No, that Lexus just has way too much torque. Oh, that's a Penguin struggling with those tires. Hammer and tong here, folks. Look at that. Oh, Gentleman Racing outbrakes him into the tight left-hander and takes the position. Textbook patient driving, and he does it in a spot where the Lexus torque advantage doesn't come into play. Now he's got to worry about that long front straight. Tit for tat, back and forth here. So he's got to get a perfect launch onto the straight, because draft or no draft, that Lexus will reel him right in. But it looks like he's got a nice gap. He may make it to turn one. You can see the avatar, check the mirror. Yes, he makes it to turn one. Still in that position. And he's going to look to kind of consolidate the position by having some good clean lines through the twisty stuff where the torque advantage of the Lexus doesn't come into play. You got Johnny making up the gap to Race Fan. And again, yeah, Race Fan's in sixth, but he's in first among the Pro-Ams, with Johnny in second, and Gentleman Racing getting by Desert Penguin to secure third among the Pro-Ams. So let's check on the leaders. We got Whitey gets back ahead of Mo Power. Sorry, there's so much action going on with these different category of drivers. It's tough to catch all the moves, man. See that Mustang reel the McLaren in. Yeah, the Avatar. McLaren driver. White, he's Avatar. Look at in the mirror. Let's check in the mirror. Should he go defensive? Nice entry into the corner on this lap by Mopower. Perhaps a little wary to brake too late there after the chaos on lap 13. Moby holding station behind Turbo there. It's tough for Moby in the Supra because it's very difficult to be aggressive. He's having to rely on the draft of these other cars to just kind of stay in the mix and then make moves later in the race, try to get by people. But still, a wonderful little car. We just hope that the standard Gran Turismo Sport BOP on that car gets adjusted, tweaked just a little bit, maybe a little less weight, a little more power. That car would be a contender. Ace Boy back at 5th. Nice. Already picked up some one position by virtue of Tim Lohr disconnecting. Maybe thinking, you know what? Let me see if something goes on up front here to put me in position. Meanwhile, yes, I did it again, missed it, but it looks like Gentleman Racing has gotten by Johnny G, and now he's on Race Fan, trying to look for the over-under. Ooh, Race Fan, the tires are looking gnarly. Oh, a little bump. See, nobody went off, so you can't see any no penalty for the contact in and of itself. Had he pushed Race Fan off, I'm sure we would have seen some absurd damage some absurd penalty would have gotten assessed. Oh, he's got the inside line into the corner. He outbrakes Race Fan. Johnny G decided to go in behind Race Fan. Perhaps getting behind Gentleman Racing would have been a better move there. And now, in about 3 laps, 3 to 4, no, maybe more than 3 to 4 laps, probably good 8 to 10 laps is taken for Gentleman Racing to get back into the lead of the Pro-Ams. Again, the main reason why that was possible is due to the fact that, again, Gentleman Racing is carrying 0 ballast. If he holds on to first in this division, he's going to pick up a full 3% and be maxed out for the Pro-Ams. The Pros max out at 5% ballast that they can accrue, and the Pro-Ams max out at 3%. So one race, win, and that's it. You're maxed out. And it really is mixing up the Pro-Am field, as there's, varying levels of pace depending on the track and the car combo. The success ballast tends to kind of bring the field together. I wouldn't say it's totally evens the field out, but it does bunch the cars back up for some really interesting racing. And now you've got Johnny G looking to get by Race Fan. Oh, and Race Fan. Oh, is this his first stop? Can't be his first stop. Wow. I think it is his first stop. That car is incredible on fuel and tires. That's amazing. We'll have to check, folks. We don't know if that's Race Fan's one and only stop. It's possible, but that seems seems kind of extreme. Unless he's fuel saving and running a different fuel map. Two-second penalty for Whitey. He doesn't have any damage, so it doesn't look like he picked that up due to any kind of contact. We'll have to see what that was about. Perhaps check in with the drivers post-race to see how he got that. Mopar putting in his best sector 1. Kudos to Whitey, strong showing today. Yeah, I know that Tim Lord disconnected, and then there was that collision between the 3 leaders on lap 13, but still strong showing, strong lap times. Yeah, really coming to grips with that McLaren. He's checking the mirrors there, the avatar. Really coming to grips with the McLaren, and hopefully enjoying it. If you recall, last season, Whitey was in the Corvette, so very different layout and different style of driving, and he's adapting really nicely. Yeah, Mopar taking some exploratory lines through the chicane, but hey, guess what? No penalty. Gets up alongside Whitey. Yeah, Mopar puts in his best lap, 52 flat. Yes, gets alongside him on the straight, and curiously, not able to do the move. I think that's him being cautious. We know Mopar's aggressive. He's not afraid to put that Mustang's nose in places, but I think he's a little leery now after the contact on lap 13. He's a little leery about causing another incident, which is honorable. Hate to see, you know, one incident take a driver off his traditional way of driving, but you know, I guess it's the smart thing to do. Seeing how all these incidents of contact will have to be reviewed by the stewards, so you know, and sometimes it can change the outcome. There's some pretty significant penalties for bashing people off in this series. If you bash someone off and don't wait for them to get back on, depending on whether they got damage or not, have to pit or not, you can pick up some serious penalties that get added to your finish time. The biggest amount of time you can get is about 30 seconds of additional time, which can just send you shooting right down the order. So it's good to be careful. Certainly shouldn't be racing with those thoughts on your mind. Should be just running a race nice and clean and battling. But you know, once it does happen to you, you tend to contemplate those things. Mopar with a real opportunity here. Gets a nice launch right on the tail, draft. Excellent torque advantage. Well, I mean, still 20 laps to go. Maybe Maybe Mo Power's thinking is, look, these guys aren't closing. Oh, Turbo pits again. Normal stop this time. As you can see, he's got no damage. He's going to get tires. Fuel up. But I got to imagine that Turbo's pit strategy has been thrown off. Stopping on lap 29 seems odd to me. In my mind, this is a race where a driver would want to cut it into thirds for a two-stop strategy, and the numbers just don't make sense. I would go 16 or 17, and then lap 32 or 33. For Turbo to stop on lap 29 is unusual. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see his fuel level as he made that stop, so who knows? Maybe he's planning on running really long. But he put the race softs on and he's back on track, so we'll see. Whitey's still holding Mo Power off. Let's get back to the AM class, Pro Am class, I should say. Gentleman Racing. Yeah, looks like Gentleman Racing's got a significant gap back to the rest of the Pro Ams. Desert Penguin with a 1.9 second penalty. Looks like he stopped again. He's got new tires. Let's see, did Race Fan? Yep, Race Fan stopped recently. Johnny G did as well. Gentleman Racing's got a decent amount of fuel still on. It looks like he could go another 2, 3, maybe 4 laps. He's got some good tire wear, more so on the left side. But it looks like he's going to tough it out. Looks like he's breaking the race up into thirds, like I mentioned earlier. And maybe he'll come in on 32 or 33. Lap 32 or 33. And it'll be interesting to see if he can stop and hold on to his lead in Pro-Am. See, Whitey's got that penalty down to 1.4 seconds. See Whitey's avatar checking the mirror. He went ghost there. Usually that indicates some penalty time going off, but it didn't look like it went down. It just sucks to have to be talking about all this penalty crap when the game should be sorted by now. 2-3 years in. Burns off a 10th there. Will they come in? Nope. Whitey stays out. Mo Power stays with him. Will this be the lap? Mo Power looks to make the move to take the lead. Look at the lap times. 53, 52.5. 53 for Whitey, 52.5 for Mo Power. Tires are starting to show wear. I'll tell you, this is where the racing's at. Applying pressure, being pressured for lap after lap after lap. Really good stuff.